What's up, survivors? Welcome to Ark News with Darth Soul. That's me, by the way. Studio Wildcard just held a community live stream with Grove Street Games over at PAX West, and they announced some really awesome things coming to Ark this fall. First off, there is an event going on in Ark right now, the PAX West or PAX Ark event, with 3x rates and over 40 different wild dino colors. Now let's get into the stuff that's coming to Ark 1 this fall. First off, we're getting a new intro to the island map. I'm not sure when this will play. I'm assuming it will play when we first spawn into the map. This intro features the ascended version of Helena that we previously saw in Extinction, and as she talks with us, the new survivor, she gives us some hints into how the story of Ark's going to play out.
The one I've been waiting for? You might be. I hope so. It's been so many cycles since I was her. Do I even still remember Hope? I wasn't sure you'd ever turn up. The odds just kept getting longer. I guess I've been losing faith, while they've been gaining power. You have to reach me. Everything depends on your survival. Master this world. Make allies of its many creatures. Grow your strength and skill. Explore this place like I did so long ago. Put the pieces together and find me, survivor. You may be the only one who can.
I'm really happy with this new addition to Ark 1 and the island map because I feel like it really helps new players get into the story right off the bat and also have a better idea of what they should be doing or what to expect in the game. Next up is another thing I'm very excited about, which is voiceovers for the dossiers and explorer notes. And here's a small sample of that.
Arguably the deadliest creature on the island, Tyrannosaurus dominum is a killing machine. Active mostly when hunting for food or defending its nest, a good plan is to avoid every Tyrannosaurus. It is pure power, from its stomp to its tail. It is not able to intimidate every foe with its roar, but upon hearing it, it might scare the poop out of you. Quite literally. Despite being a different subspecies of Tyrannosaurus, everyone I've met still refers to them as a Rex or a T-Rex. I've long since stopped trying to convince anyone, especially the few who I've encountered wearing Tyrannosaurus teeth as necklaces. Taming a Tyrannosaurus is without a doubt the goal for any warlord or warring tribe. Tyrannosaurus is a fierce battle companion. There is a reason Tyrannosaurus is considered the king of dinosaurs, or in this genus, the lord. Any tribe that manages to tame one has almost nothing to fear.
As many of you guys know, I'm kind of an Ark lore junkie. I've read all of these explorer notes and dossiers, and I'm really excited for them to be brought more to life. Now hold on to your dinos because this next announcement is something that many Ark players had given up on or didn't think was coming to the game. We even had some of the devs like Cedric and others say that this was not going to come to Ark, but they changed their mind. We will now officially be getting an actual ending to the Scorched Earth map, complete with an Ascension cinematic that is a perfect segue into Aberration. Next up is the Carcharodontosaurus, which was my personal favorite during the votes. I think it placed second both times we voted for new dinos to come to Ark, and Cedric finally broke the news that the Carcharodontosaurus is officially coming to Ark this fall. This is the last dino coming to Ark 1 officially before Ark 2, and in the dossier we get a hint at some pretty unique abilities. First off, they mentioned that it will enjoy the taste of blood, and the more smaller dinos it kills or consumes, it will get a kind of berserker buff ability. Also, based on the dossier, it appears to have some type of tail sweep or tail swipe ability, possibly similar to that of the Reaper King. And unlike the T-Rex, which makes us poop our pants when it roars, it sounds like the Carcharodontosaurus might give us some kind of war cry or attack buff when it roars. Next up is something that's really going to change how a lot of Ark players play Ark at the end of this year, as well as introducing more players from the Nintendo Switch scene and more of a younger audience. Studio Wildcard has announced in conjunction with Grove Street Games that on October 25th of this year, the Ultimate Survivor Edition for Ark Survival Evolved will be released on Nintendo Switch. The purpose of this new version of the game is to completely revamp it on Nintendo Switch to give Switch players the same experience playing Ark as Xbox and PlayStation players. In other words, they will be releasing all of the different dinos and all of the different story maps for Nintendo Switch players. At the initial release on October 25th, Ark players will have the Island and Scorched Earth on Nintendo Switch, and then later on in the year and into 2023, they will release in order all of the other story maps like Aberration, Extinction, Genesis 1, and Genesis 2. Not only will this version of Ark on Nintendo Switch only cost $50 for everything, but the devs also said that this version of the game was optimized to include faster loading times. And in addition, one little change they've made to this version of the game that's just slightly different from PC and the other consoles, just to keep things easier or more simple with the buttons you have to press, they've slimmed down the hotbar at the bottom to 8 instead of 10. Now, I'm not sure if this will be released at the same time or maybe a little bit later than the Ultimate Survivor Edition, but Grove Street Games and Studio Wildcard are currently working on Ark Dinosaur Discovery. The spin-off of Ark will be easier, simpler, and a little bit more kid-friendly for any of you guys who have kids that have seen you playing Ark and they wanted to interact with the dinos, but just couldn't keep up with the survival aspect. And last but not least, we don't have any news for release dates of the animated series or Ark 2, but we did get some hints or sneak peeks at some of that content. For example, they did say that the Ark Animated Series will include flashbacks of the characters' lives before coming to the Ark, so that's just something we can expect from the series, a little bit more in-depth character building. We also know that Gareth Coker has been writing all of the music for all of the episodes, and he's hugely involved with the animated series. But Gareth also let slip that he's still working on some of the music for the show. So that probably means that the animated series is not coming this month, but I'm still hoping that we'll get at least 1 or 2 episodes before the end of this year. But that's just my personal hope. We might not get the series until 2023. Either way, I think it looks amazing. It's going to be amazing. I'm excited to watch it. There were also 2 fairly interesting things they mentioned about Ark 2 during the live stream that I don't think they've gone into a lot of depth about before. First is that Ark 2 will have a lot less focus on survival, or at least the realistic aspect of survival. Now, they didn't really say more than that. That could just be that we won't have to eat and drink as often, or it could be that maybe we can fall from higher up and still be okay. They basically just said that not a lot of the realism is there, which is fine by me. I mean, it is sci-fi, it's science fiction, fantasy. It's not like everything has to work exactly how it would in real life, but I'm hoping that doesn't mean that there's like very little survival aspect. It didn't sound like that. It does sound like there still is that survival aspect, you know, getting food and foraging with the way you interact with dinosaurs, the building, etc. But I guess we'll see. And last but not least, they did mention that the tech in Ark 2, which will be in Ark 2, is going to take kind of a different role, or just at least seem different from what we saw in Ark 1. In their own words, they said that the tech will seem more threatening, magical, or beyond human understanding. They made it sound like we won't be able to use tech, or at least not at first until we understand it, and that there's kind of this darker side or darker aspect of it. I think they might be going for a real emphasis on how tech was portrayed in Genesis 2 on Rockwell's side of the ship, or more like what we saw in Extinction, how tech and Element had completely destroyed civilization. And we also kind of saw how Element might kind of have a mind of its own in a way. That was just something they hinted at, and I'm sure we'll learn more once the Ark 2 release date comes closer. And that is it for this Ark News video, guys. If you enjoyed it or found it useful in any way, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I am Darth Soul, and I will see you next time.